Hello guys, this is CodeNCode and this is 7th lecture of the Dynamic Programming course part 2 series, and this is phase 2 of DGTP. As explained in the 5th lecture, the problem that we are taken is divided into 3 phases, and this is phase 2. So up till now what we have done, we have defined the function getSum, which will return the digit sum of all numbers having at max n digits, right? We have done this in the previous lecture. Now if we want to find, for example, if you have 345 and you want to get the digit sum of all number from 1 to 345, we can call digit sum 3, because digit sum 3 contains will return you sum of all numbers having at most 3 digits, and this is also having 3 digits. But the problem is this sum will also return the sum of some numbers, digit sum of some numbers which are greater than 345, like 346 up to from 346 or 999 or any number which lies in between these. We do not want these number because these are way above 345. We want digit sum of numbers up to 345 only, and digit sum does not take care of that. So the question is how you can handle this not to happen. This thing that it also returns the numbers, the sum of number, digit sum of numbers which do not lie in the range that we want. So to answer that question, first we have to see and understand the nature of how getSum function works. Now getSum function, what it does is actually it fills all the position from first to n with every single digit available without any consideration. And that is the reason why the problem happens. I mean, if you want to find for example, if I explain you with an example, so if I want digit sum up to 345 only, and if I call this sum, what will happen? The first place this sum will fill with 0, 3 digits, first digit, second digit and third digit, as well as 4, 5, 6 up to 9. So if I show you first, this is what we wrote in the previous lecture, right? Now what happens is that when position is equals to 1 and the number is 345, it won't consider anything, and first place is filled with every single digit available. That is, the first place will be filled with 0, 1, 2, 3 as well as 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and 9. But what happens is that if you fill the first place with any digit which is greater than 3, what would happen? No matter what value you fill at place 3 and second place, the resultant number is going to be greater than 345. For example, let's fill the first place with 4, then even if I fill the second and third place with the smallest number available, smallest digit available, that is 0 and 0, the resultant number is still greater than 345. Similarly, if I fill the first place with 6, no matter what value I fill at second and third place, the resultant number is going to be way bigger than 345. So this explains us that okay, each place has an upper limit on the digit that we can fill. Of course, the first digit we cannot fill at first place, we cannot fill any digit which is greater than 3, right? So this shows us that every place have an upper limit to the digit that you can fill. It's not like you can fill every single digit there, but there is an upper limit that above that you can't fill. So let's find out for number 345 what is the limit of digits we can fill at position 1, 2 and 3. Just think for a second. At place 1 we already know that okay, I cannot fill any digit which is greater than 3, right? Now for second and third place, what do you think will be the upper limit? Well, you may think that at second place the upper limit is 4 and at third place upper limit is 5. I cannot fill third place any digit which is greater than 5, and I cannot fill second place with any digit which is greater than 4. You are right at some sense, but not perfectly, because for example, 279 is actually smaller than 345, and we see 279 at second place we are able to fill digit 7 which is greater than 4, of course, and at third place we are able to fill 9 which is greater than 5 as well. So what is upper limit? The upper limit is defined this way. See, if you are filling the ith place, say I am filling the second place, and if any previous place was filled with any digit which is smaller than the allowed digit, we will consider these as allowed digit. So the current limit will be 9. What do I mean by that? See, now you are filling the second place, right? Now previously, the previously filled digit is actually smaller than its current limit. Its limit was 3, but previously you have filled 2. So if while filling the ith place, if you see there exists a place previously where we have filled a digit which is smaller than its limit, then the current limit becomes 9. So at current place you can fill 9. Since you have filled first place with 2 which is smaller than its current limit 3, that is why at place second, third and fourth at any subsequent place you can fill all the digits from 0 to 9, because the number is going to be smaller no matter what. Since you have filled 2 here, no matter what you fill at second and third place, this is still going to be smaller than 345. So if you are filling the ith place and previously you have filled a digit which is strictly smaller than its current limit, then at current place you can fill all the numbers, all the digits from 0 to 9. Otherwise, if previously I have filled 3, then at second place I cannot go beyond 4. So if previously you have filled if this condition 1 doesn't is not true, then second condition will update the current limit to be the current digit. That is, you cannot fill the second place with any digit greater than 4. So there are two different kinds of limit. First, if previously you have filled any place with a digit which is strictly smaller than its limit, then the current place limit will be 0 to 9, which is max. Otherwise it would be equal to the digit itself, the current digit itself. So if I am filling the second place, current limit will be 4. If I am filling the third place, current limit will be 5. So if I show you the code, what we have done, so this was what we have done in the previous lecture in phase 1. Now here we have modified it. Now since just a second, now as explained here, if the no matter what, the first limit of first place will be equal to the first digit, that is 3. You cannot go beyond 3, right? So the first place we have to fill with the digit 0, 1, 2 or 3. I cannot fill it 4 or anything else, because if I'm talking about the first digit, then there exists no other digit which comes before 3. And if there is no digit which is before 3, I mean which is before the first place, then this condition will not hold. So the limit of first place will be equal to the first digit. So since at each place I want the number, so at position 1 I want to know what is number in the what is the digit available in the number at that place. So I'll be creating an array of each of digit available at that place. So in the array, if the input is like 569, so in the array at place 1 I'll be storing 4, at place 2 I'll be storing 6, and at place 3 I'll be storing 9. So that while I am using this getSum function to fill the position POS, I know what is my limit, and I can know the digit in the number at position POS. So for that, what I am doing here, if I'm reading the number B as string instead of a number, I'm reading it as a string, so 345 I'll be reading as string, and then for each digit I'm storing in the AR array as explained here, that if the input is 469, then at place 1 I'll be having 4 in the array, at place 2 I'll be having 6, at place 3 I'll be having 9. So this is what I'm doing here. After that I'm calling the getSum function, but this time I am having 4 different parameters. First, of course, the place I want to fill. Second is same, the number of digits in the number as we did here. The first was the position you want to fill, starting position we want to fill, and then n is the number of digit and 0 is the current digit sum. Similarly 1 and the number of digit and the current digit sum, and there is also an extra parameter flag which will indicate whether which will be useful to identify condition 1. If when you are on position POS, flag will be true if there was any digit before this position which was filled which was smaller than its current limit. So this will be true. So there is no change in base condition. We define limit to be 9 initially. If the flag is not true, that means there is no digit previously which was filled below its current limit. In that case, our current limit is going to be the digit available at POS position, right? So basically second condition. If there is no place where we have filled a digit smaller than its limit, then this flag will be false because this stores the status of that thing. So if this flag is false, that means there is no digit previously filled such that it was smaller than its current limit. So if this is false, the current limit is going to be the digit available at position POS. So this will be our limit. Otherwise, if that's not the case, the limit is going to be 9, which means we are talking about the first condition. Otherwise, this is the second condition. Now result we again initialize with 0, and then we run a loop not from 0 to 9 but from 0 to limit. And if the flag is already true, then you will pass true. These first three parameters is same as the previous lecture, so not going into the details of that. But if the flag is already true, that means previously we have filled some digit which was smaller than its current limit, so we will pass true as well. If the flag is not true but the current digit that we are filling is actually strictly smaller than the current limit, so that is why we'll pass true as well. So if even one of the condition is true, we'll pass true. Otherwise, none of the condition is true, neither the flag is true, which means in previous fillings we haven't filled any digit which was strictly smaller than its limit, or the current digit that we are filling is also not strictly smaller than the current limit, then in that case we will pass false. And this is the only change that we need to make. And this is digit sum. Let me remove it. I do not need it for now. So what we are doing here, we are simply reading the input as in string form, and then initializing the array AR, and then calling the function digsum. So this should work. Let's see. This is again the digsum brute, that is brute force approach to calculate digsum of all number from 1 to n, as you can see, right? And what it does, it runs a loop from 1 to n and returns the digit sum of all number from 1 to n. This is, I have written this code to test whether the new code that we have written here, digsum dp, is correct or not. And this is digsum, as you can see, read digsum brute. So what is the digsum from digits 8? From all number from 1 to 8, the digit sum comes out to be 36. So let's test it. Our DP solution that we have written, even though this is actually this solution that we have written is not actually DP, because we still have to apply phase 3, right? So this is not DP but phase 2 solution, and this is a brute force approach which is 100% correct. So we see that the code that we have written is also gives us digit sum 36, which is correct. So let's see what is digit sum up to 100. It is 901. And if we test it for our code, the phase 2 code, it comes out to be 901, which is correct. Let's go for 345 and test it for the code that we have written, 345, and we can see that it is actually matching. So that means the code that we have written is actually correct. So in this lecture, what we have seen is that at each place like we did in phase 1, it is not possible to fill every single digit. If we do so, then there will be numbers which are greater than our limit, that up to which we want the digit sum. So this is not feasible for us. So what we did, we defined the limit, and limit is defined in two different ways. First, if there exists any place where we have already filled a digit which was strictly smaller than its current limit, if that happens, then no matter what you fill, the resultant number is still going to be smaller than the input number b. In that case, limit will be 9, from 0 to 9. Otherwise, limit will be equal to the current position digit, and that is what we are doing here. And we are running a loop from 0 to limit, not from 0 to 9. And this is the only change that we have made. And now our function get sum is actually returning the sum up to number b. Now what we have done, we have modified this function what we wanted to do in phase 2, and phase 2 is completed. Now the only thing it remains is, in the next lecture, what we will do, we'll apply memoization and convert the current recursive code into a DP1. And after that, we will be solving this problem, sum of digits from Spoj. So in the next lecture, we'll be solving this problem, and basically we'll be converting our recursive solution into DP1 by applying memoization, and also we'll be solving this problem from Spoj, where it is, oh, this sums of digits. So this was all for this lecture. Thank you guys for watching. Until the next video drops, keep coding. Thank you.